Today, the DC Spotlight is talking to the author of our book of the month. It's the third book on our top 10 list of books to know. The book is Debut, and the author is Don Gaitens. Thank you. Debut is the anthology collection of fantasy fiction, and Don is here to talk about it. You're in the DC Spotlight, Don. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks so much for having me here, Wendy. I'm really happy to be joining you.
So let's jump right in. So this book is published by Spud Publishing, which is a new publishing house in Canada. How did you get involved with Spud Publishing?
Well, as it happens, one of the founding members of Spud Pub, Chenise, is a dear friend. We met over a decade ago at a ballroom dancing event, and we hit it off in our shared love of writing and storytelling. So when she told me that she was opening up a publishing business, I immediately submitted some of my work, thinking I would just get another, thank you for trying message, as you do from so many publishers. But she accepted, and I managed to get all the way through.
Super. So why did you choose fantasy out of all the genres to choose?
Fantasy is a really, really great storytelling area where you can touch on difficult topics without pointing fingers at existing figures. And I like being able to talk about like difficult things in a way that is approachable. So that, plus I'm a giant nerd. I've been reading fantasy my whole life, and I just love it.
So why did you choose this story? Because this story was really, why did you choose the story? What inspired you about it?
So my story in this anthology is called Perry Framling's Desert Dangers, and it's about a combat medic who encounters magical forces, spirits, genies while he is deployed. I come from a military family. I have friends that are in the service, a lot of respect for them. And the stuff that they go through is hard. I'm not, and there's all kinds of things that happen that impact them. And I want to be able to address some of it in a way that also integrates with storytelling, because like I grew up hearing about, military and the hard things that they have to go through. And I wanted to address it but also bring in some of the lighthearted fantasy aspects, because even in the darkest times, we still joke, right? We still have
Exactly. Yeah, definitely. So what did you do before you became a writer?
I've been writing for a really long time. I started as a high school journalist in the Yorkton Enterprise newspaper up in Saskatchewan, Canada. And then I took a zigzag path, but eventually I became a literacy English teacher, taught drama. And then when I wanted to pay off my student loans, I jumped over into the corporate world and work as a technical writer there. I've been writing my whole life, and also as a hobby, which is sort of a narrow field, but still fun for me.
Oh, great. So what inspired you to become a writer? So are there any writers that inspired you, or you
Yeah.
stand out for you?
I specifically call one of them out in the book, Orson Scott Card, the guy who wrote Ender's Game, Terry Pratchett, another great author, Douglas Adams. I grew up with and then all the authors of Star Trek, right? So again, giant nerd. But they all did things where they did social commentary while telling it in a way that wasn't dangerous, right? So they were able to bring in kindness and empathy and compassion for human beings, and in hard circumstances, but in a way that didn't set fire to their lives.
Exactly. So when you were young, what did you want to be when you grew up? Was that on your radar, or was there something else you wanted to be?
I have wanted to be a storyteller my whole life.
Really?
It's my mom kept my report cards, and it's listed there frequently of Don tells a lot of stories. So
is that like lies, or is that stories?
well, when you're younger, fantasy and reality can drift together a little bit. And I was a rambunctious boy and tried to get stories to get myself out of trouble frequently. But as I grew older, I put them on paper instead of just telling them to people.
So what is the most difficult part about writing?
Staring at that blank piece of paper, knowing that you want to tell a good story that people are going to love and engage with and touch and let it touch them.
Yeah.
And having that blank piece of paper stare back at you.
Yeah.
as Neil Gaiman said, it's easy. Writing is easy. You just cut yourself and then bleed onto the paper.
Oh my God. Yeah. So can you give me just a little, just a itty bit, because we want to read the book.
Yeah,
So a little bit about what the your story is about, because it's an anthology. So I think there are 5 stories in the book.
yeah.
So can you give me a
My
little?
so my story makes up about 25% of the total anthology. Um, would you like me to read a section or just give you like a brief on what's happening?
Just give me an overview of what's happening.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna start by sharing this amazing illustration.
Oh
Um,
yeah, that is. Look at that.
so Sean Ali Khan, the senior artist, each of us writers got paired with an artist,
Mhm.
and he did mine. And the one of the first things that happens is in the story, Perry and his crew are in a convoy heading to do a goodwill delivery to one of the local villages, and they are attacked. And everything blows up, and his whole team blows up, and he blows up, which is what that image was. And he is saved for reasons unknown that become slowly evident over the course of the story. He later encounters a gnome, a small little garden gnome, like this fella here, that has been working by his side secretly to keep him alive through all the difficulties that he's encountered. And he encounters a genie where I tie in some Shakespeare stuff. And people who are a fan of A Midsummer Night's Dream will recognize the genie when described as the person who made Queen Tatiana angry. And then things roll out where conflict happens and wishes are made and bad things occur. And there is a fight nearly to the death. And things are resolved. And Perry gets to go home. But more stuff happens. I'm going to leave it there because I leave the story on a cliffhanger.
That's
So I might as well
intriguing.
leave this on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, that's intriguing. That's really intriguing. I mean, that's the thing about fantasy. You can go there, with it. So, as a writer, when you think about the writing that you do, what would be the tips that you could give writers, like 3 tips that you would give writers, new writers who want to be published?
Expect rejection. That's the number one thing. Harden your skin. I have an actual file folder. There's about 46 rejection letters in there from magazines, other places, because you just submit your stuff and hope for the best. Number 2, no ideas are bad ideas. It's better to have something to cut than it is to try and generate things. So write all your silly ideas down, stitch them together however you need, cut later.
Okay.
And then the last one is don't let perfect be the enemy of complete, because you can't submit something that you're polishing. Finish it. Finish the story, put it out there. You can fix it later. You can't fix it if you're not done.
Exactly. Exactly. Those are good tips. Very good tips. So, if you had an Oscar speech that you were giving tonight, who would you thank for all of the help along the way as a writer, as a person?
I'm going to steal from Snoop right out of the gate. I'm going to thank me because I bust my ass. I hustle, I write, like I do a full day's work. I work a 50-hour work week, and then I write in my own time. And
Uh-huh.
I try and have a social life. So I'm going to thank me because I'm putting in the work.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to thank the people that rejected me because they told me what I needed to do to improve, right? Success only teaches you to keep doing what you're doing. When you fail and someone tells you why you failed, that's a gift. They're teaching
Uh-huh.
you how to step up, right? And I'm gonna thank my publisher, Spud Pub, for taking a chance because I'm just an old nerd that was writing down some silly ideas and they thought it was cool and they're giving it a chance. Um,
That's that's awesome. That's awesome. Because when you realize that everything relies on you, then in the end, yes, thank yourself. When it all comes down to you, yes, thank yourself. Because sometimes people just don't step up to the plate because it's all on them. But those who do, yes, thank yourself.
Yeah.
So
Fear never gets fixed by thinking about it. You got to do.
exactly. So where can our readers find you? Where can they, first of all, follow you? And where can they pick up the book?
Okay, so the book is available on Amazon, Kindle, so you can download the e-versions there. You can download physical copies, like this lovely, one here, from spudpub.com. So the publisher's website. For myself, I'm on most social media as Don Gaitens. So that's Dongeeer.
Is that Instagram also?
That's Instagram. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Okay, great. Well, it was so nice talking to you. We can't wait to read the book. I mean, all the writers that are in the book, we can't wait to read theirs and yours also. And we hope that this won't be your first. Is this your first, actually?
This is my first published short story. I have previously sold a play to community theater, so it's not in wide circulation.
Okay. Well, this is your first then. Yeah. So congratulations, and we hope it won't be your last.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Don.
All right. Bye, Wendy.